But I want to welcome you first and foremost to the Distorted Dialogue podcast. We got Markus from Desaster, the German killer Blackened Thrash band.
Hello, nice to meet you.
It's, I'm so glad you came. So tell me all about your upcoming album, Kill All Idols. I love the sound of it, but I think the message that it brings even more.
Thank you very much. That's cool to hear. That's, of course, very cool to hear. We also love this album. It took us a lot of effort, a lot of hard work to put it out. And of course, because it's our album number 10,
Yeah.
we wanted to make it something very special. And we tried to put all our trademarks into this album. We are around for 36, 37 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of different stuff in our music style. And we wanted to really combine all our elements we are known for on this album. And I think we made it. I think we really put out an album. You really can hear in every song. This is Desaster, of course,
Yeah.
but they are very no song is like the other. We have a lot of variety, a lot of diverse songs on it, and we are very proud of it. Yeah.
It sounds great. And I really liked your 2021 album, Churches Without Saints. And it had like a lot of punk influence in that album. And it's like you guys build upon that. And the song, the last song you released, Throne of Ecstasy, it sounds to me, the guitar tone reminds me of like old school Exploited. And like, it just has that gritty sound. And I absolutely loved it. When you mix that with like classic Disaster thrash, it was like a punk and thrash, like bonanza I just loved.
So cool to hear. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I love to hear that. And yes, you are totally right. Since the beginning, we were influenced by punk music. I remember when I grew up, we had a strong, a very big punk community in our hometown, and we were hanging around. Were hanging up with those guys, with those punk guys,
Yeah.
and of course we were listening also to Exploited and a lot of German punk bands, and it was great time. We did the pogo dance with them, and they did some headbanging, with
Yeah.
their hair on Slayer stuff, and that was really great and fantastic time. And of course, our music is also influenced by punk. I think the thrash metal music in general is influenced by punk. A lot of guys told this. Dave Lombardo, he was into a lot of punk bands, and he said they made him play so fast in Slayer, and also Miller from Creator, it was a big punk fan, and of course also Creator's music is influenced by punk. Yes.
Yeah. I like that last Creator album though. They like slowed it down a bit and threw a little bit more groove. That Hey Uber Alice, such a killer album. So you Germans got a lot of great metal over there.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think we are a real metal community.
Yeah.
We don't have that much bands. I just saw a map with how many bands in every country, and of course in Finland there are the most bands.
Yeah.
I think every inhabitant of Finland is playing in 4 bands at least.
Yeah.
So of course there are many bands, but also Germany has a big metal history.
Yeah.
And of course, we are proud to be a part of this history right now because we are very old right now as well. But of course, bands like Creator, Sodom, and stuff like that, they started it all in the extreme metal scene. And we are proud that we have bands like this. That's so cool.
And there's a lot of underground bands in Germany too, like the band Kampa. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're like a German thrash band, and they're just coming. They just released an EP a couple years ago, maybe last year, and it was just phenomenal.
What is the band's name? Camp?
Campa, Campa.
No, sorry. Don't
I'm gonna
know.
send I started this thing about a year ago, this little YouTube channel, and I've just been like looking for underground bands, and I found so many in Germany. I'll send you a bunch over. But
Yeah, yeah.
I've been a fan of you guys since probably the late 90s, because your sound, a lot of bands are picking up that blackened thrash, black rock and roll sound now, but you guys have been doing it for a long time now. And to see how you guys keep, refining it here or shifting it here, it's such growth, and it's so like invigorating still that after all these years, I can get excited about a Disaster album.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Some guys even tell me that we are one of the inventors of this black thrash style, And of course, to hear this makes me proud.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it was in the 90s. It was not on our first album. It was with our second album. We really defined this kind of metal style, together with bands, of course, like Destroyer 666 or also Absu from the United States. They also do some great black thrash stuff, in the past. And yeah, it was cool to be seen as a pioneer of some music. Of course, it was nothing new. There was
Yeah.
black metal already existing. It was thrash metal. Perhaps the new thing was that we combined this.
Yeah. But if you look at like the thrash bands like the Big Four or even Sodom, it seems like while they were influenced by punk, they kind of like leaned heavier into like the metal side, where you guys are a really nice balance. I went and I saw Creator and I saw Midnight on the same bill. And to me, it's like you combine Midnight seems like, you guys were a big influence to them probably. But it's just such a unique sound in the 90s to me?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it might be that Midnight is already influenced by us. I don't know. I've never
Yeah.
met them. I hoped that we can play together because I love their music. It's really great stuff. I love it really. And yeah, hopefully we can play together. And yeah, yeah, I think they still have the certain spirit you need.
Yeah.
I don't I don't like the new creator stuff that much, I must admit,
Sure.
because I think they lost a little bit of this juvenile spirit, of this aggression, of this spontaneous things. I miss this a little bit with the creator. I
Yeah.
think Sodom, they still have it. We played with them in March in Brazil, and it was the best show I ever saw from Sodom. Was so cool. But I think Creator lost a little bit. And Midnight, bands like Midnight, they really deliver this spirit. They are violent. They don't care at all for some things. They just play, and that's cool. And I think this you can, of course, recognize when you watch a show.
I I saw Midnight Open, then it was Creator, and then it was Merciful Fate. And if it wasn't Merciful Fate as the headliner, because they're like a dream to me, like Midnight, I would hate to follow them on a stage. They brought out a stripper, they had like all kinds of crazy stuff. So it was like, man, this is like a mind-blowing show. Just craziness. And they have that passion that you guys have. So it's so great to see.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I also want to see Mess with Hate again. I remember when they reunite, it was somewhere in the
Yeah.
90s. It was so great to see them live, hearing the old songs with King Diamond. That was so fucking cool. And the lyrics of King Diamond in Mess with Hate were a big influence on Disaster because at the end of the 90s, a lot of bands wanted to get rid of their satanic image.
Yeah.
Even Creator, Destruction, Sodom, they all changed their image a bit. They wrote about society and problems and stuff like that. And there was King Diamond, the only one still doing satanic lyrics, and we loved
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And it works. And speaking of lyrics, the lyrics on Kill All Idols seem to address both the problems and flaws with society, as well as some of the satanic the new like the satanic themes of like not following a, devout religion or being brainwashed by any sort of cult or societal group.
Yeah, you know, in the past, of course, we had a lot of those lyrics. We had lyrics about the devil, about hell, about Satan, and evil things, you know, of course, because this belongs to heavy metal. This is, of course, also our part of our image. But nowadays, our singer, he sings about the real hell. The real hell is on earth.
Yep.
Just look around. Just look around what is going on. That's unbelievable what is going on this planet, and mankind is soon to kill each other. I think we are soon destroying the whole planet, and of course he wants to sing about topics like that. You know, he's not that interested in fantasy. You know, the Holy Bible is nothing than fantasy. Hell
Sure.
is fantasy, of course, and stuff like that. uh, but of course we still like the evil spirit, you know, and we of course want to bring the evil spirit into our music. But the lyrics, I must say, are a little bit grown up nowadays.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a huge fan of Exodus. It's probably my favorite band. And I was listening to I listen, I'm well familiar with their catalog, and their younger stuff is more like, juvenile passion, but like they started getting heavier to me when the subject matter became about real life, when they're singing about real life serial killers or real life. The real life stories seem to be more evil, more impactful than anything we can fantasize about. Reality is hard, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Of course, you are totally right, and that's a good example. I remember the first Exodus album, Bonded by Blood. There were some great lyrics on it for us when we were kids. We loved lyrics like that, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
but you are right. If you are grown up singing about the devil and Satan and stuff like that, that's in one way a little bit, I won't say stupid, but yeah, we prefer nowadays to sing about the real evil, and that
Yeah.
is happening here. That's happening on Earth.
But I think when you incorporate like real lyrics and like real passion and real energy, that's what leads to like such great albums. Like if you just had like a bullshit story that you guys just created, it wouldn't be as impactful and it might not be as heavy because the subject matter is that heavy.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think also all those a lot of the Ring fans, you know, there are a lot of bands who have lyrics with Lord of the Rings, but they don't walk around like hobbits in their real
Right,
life.
right.
But they try, of course, they try to escape into a fantasy world, which of course is okay.
Sure.
Uh, you can write lyrics about whatever you want, but of course, to heavy metal music, the evil stuff is fitting most. And of course, in the beginning, Venom could really shock with those satanic stuff. It
Yeah.
was something new. There were only a few bands doing it before, uh, but Venom really over did it over the top. They did everything over the top, also with the lyrics.
Yeah.
But after Venom, of course, it became a little bit boring, you know. So I nowadays I can understand why Destruction and Sodom, why they try to change their image, why they change their lyrics at the end of the 80s. But I was a kid back then, and
Yeah.
I thought this is stupid. I want satanic stuff, you know.
Right. That's what drew me to so heavy metal was a combination of Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden's what drew me in. And Iron Maiden appealed to me because I remember Derek Riggs' album art as a kid and I looked at it and you got this evil album art and I'm like, I want that. And then when you bring it home and you hear these Number of the Beast, 666, I mean, I'm late 80s as well as you and like it was just mind-blowing back then and I still love that feeling now.
Yeah, I remember I was really, as a kid, I was really feared. I had fear. I was afraid. That's the word. I'm sorry. I was afraid of the covers of Iron Maiden when I was a kid, and I saw a Iron Maiden cover. I was really like, "Wow, what's that?
Right. And
But of course, if you grew up in as a grown up, as a in your adolescence, of course you want to have something special to shock your parents, and then those album covers, they were cool.
yeah. And I was listening to your album yesterday to prepare for today again. I've listened to it about 100 times, and I should stop because when it comes out, I want to listen to it more. But I was driving home yesterday and I was thinking like back in the 80s, late 80s, I got into like Slayer when and and I remember as a kid Slayer felt so evil, like I'm doing something bad. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be doing this, which made it feel even better. And I was like, there's a lot of music that doesn't have that same effect. But when I was listening to the lyrics in your albums about like people falling for God and people falling these false idols, whether it be a president or, some musical entity some musical band that they follow, like a cult. They all have, like you guys keep saying, their own personal agendas. And so, nothing to me, things don't feel as evil anymore in music, but I can still get that feeling from like some death metal and some black thrash. And it still feels that dangerous energy in it. And I love it.
Thank you very much. I agree with you totally. I think heavy metal music needs some danger in it. It has to shock people. It's not mainstream music for the normal people. And I hate it that, for example, at the end of the 80s, you remember it, everybody suddenly was into Metallica. They started a really big boom, and I hated it. Everybody
Yeah.
was listening to my beloved music. Yeah. And I also remember when I first put on the Rain and Blood album, I
Yeah.
really, after 10 seconds, had to stop it because I was shocked. I really was shocked
Yeah.
because it was so evil, it was so intense, so aggressive. And sometimes nowadays I'm missing these things. Iron Maiden is playing every year a tour in Germany. They play the big stadiums, the football stadiums.
Yeah.
They're full with 40,000 people, and there are so many normal people. Of course, everybody can listen to whatever he wants. Don't
Yeah.
misunderstand me, but for me, it's like, okay, those those stadium heavy metal fans, they are not of my kind.
100% agree. And there's a different energy in like the traditional heavy metal or new wave like Maiden, and then you go to like a show like there's an American band called Enforced. I don't know if you ever heard of them. And I'm gonna send them over to you. Them and Power Trip, two amazing bands. And I just saw Enforced last year, and it was people flying off the stage. There was like an actual energy in the circle. The circle pit was going. You could feel wind, and I was like, this is what metal
Great.
should be like.
Yeah, I totally agree. If there is a concert where there's nothing going on, it's not my kind of music. Of
Yeah,
course, there are some bands I listen to at home, which make some calm music, of course. But
sure.
when I go to a concert, I want some action.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to go in the first row, bang my head. The stage diving, unfortunately, is not allowed anymore in Germany. I don't know why, because it was always great. Okay,
yeah,
I'm too old now for doing stage diving. I
sure.
would break, I would break my bones, I think, totally.
Yeah, me too.
But but of course we love aggressive music, and I could never understand people who go to a black metal show and stand like this. That's so stupid.
Yeah.
You have to freak out. The music has to catch you, and you have to freak out to feel the music and go totally insane.
And it's such a release of energy too. Like I always feel better when you leave a show because you got all your negativity out, in a
Yeah,
positive
yeah.
way.
Yeah, that's what the normal people can't understand. They always think, okay, you listen to such aggressive music, you have to be an aggressive person. Of course not, because when we go to a show, or if when we listen to heavy metal music, we can lose our aggressiveness,
Yeah, yeah.
and they can't understand it.
So when
They
you
always say,
guys,
"You are crazy."
so when you guys are writing the Disaster album, do you guys all collaborate as far as like the music and the lyrics, or does each person write their own parts? Or
We are still a band which is rehearsing
yeah,
in person. We love to meet. It's always like a family meeting. We
yeah,
can't rehearse that often, only once a month or every second month. We meet to rehearse. We have party, we drink, we
yeah.
barbecue, and of course we do some music, which is always great because it's like the spirit is coming down on you. And I, of course, have some ideas. I play some riffs, and our drummer is joining in, and it's cool. We always write songs together. The others have some ideas. They say, "Oh, this riff is great. Just play it second times or something like that." And yeah, but at the end, of course, the lyrics are written when the song is ready. Our singer is doing the lyrics. In the
Okay.
past, I did some lyrics, but nowadays he's doing all the lyrics.
Well, that riff you wrote in Throne of Ecstasy, there's like a little riff in there, man. It is just has a nice groove to it. It's really ear catching. I couldn't get enough of that riff, and it's right in the middle of like big of Thrones of Ecstasy. Really good riff, man.
Thank you very much. I always try to write good middle parts. That's, I think, a middle part is very important for me, much more than a solo. You have
Yeah.
recognized it. I'm not doing much solos on the album. I'm not a good solo guitar player. I prefer the rhythm, and I always try to put much attention on the middle part of a song, which is for me very important. I like this epic middle parts, like also in the song "Towards Oblivion." That's also a very good middle part, and I love this riff as well. And yeah, I try to make every riff something cool, something special. You have to put some testosterone in it.
For sure. But
That's cool.
does Disaster really need a guitar solo? Because if the riff is good and it's just pummeling you, who gives a shit about a solo, you know?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. In the past, it was like a unwritten rule that every rock song needs a solo. And of course, some bands they overdid it. They did 10-minute songs with 7-minute solos in it. That was so boring. So it was cool that the punk scene, when it came up, they did only 2-minute songs without any solos, and that was also impressing us, of course. So for me, I also don't need that much solo. Sometimes a song needs a solo, but most of the time, no.
I agree. I think though the thing that irritates me about punk, because I'm an old school, like nowadays everything comes out in singles at like once a week, and I want to hear the whole meat and potatoes. I want to see how songs are bookended, and punk would always aggravate me because I would start getting into the song because I'm used to like longer Tornado of Souls or something like that. So I'd start getting into like an exploited song and then it would end and you'd be like, shit, I gotta play it again. And punk always left me hungry for more. Whereas sometimes in metal, the song will drag like Guns N' Roses' November Rain. So long, like just drawn out. Cut half of that off and let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, I totally understand what you mean. The same goes for me sometimes, but I think it's also good. So if you're doing a short track, it makes you hungry, and you have to play it again and again. So why not?
Right, right. And it's definitely, I think that's really good for the streaming age, especially because let's face it, like that's, that you got to get as many streams as you can.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can understand that this is important nowadays for all the bands and the business. But I must really say we don't give a shit. We don't write the music for the internet or something like that, you
Sure,
know.
sure.
And we are glad that also our record company, they don't come to us and say, yeah, you have to write songs not that long, you have to write songs in this way. We are totally free to do whatever we want. I heard about bands
Yeah.
they are really taught by the record company how they should compose their music. and that's for me is a no-go, of course.
I think what record companies failed, like Metal Blade gets it right because Brian Slagle is a metal fan at heart. So I think he understands the process. Whereas if you're on a bigger label that works with pop artists, I just watched a Beato interview where he was explaining how basically all pop songs are written by the same handful of people and just passed around. And that's why they sound like that. Whereas in metal is completely different. There's no like formula to success. You gotta
Yeah.
have your heart in it. And if a company's gonna force your hand, then your heart's not gonna be in it because you're not free to do what you want.
Yeah, metal has no boundaries. Yeah, like evil has no boundaries.
Right.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, and I think that's really good that Brian Slagle did it this way. He discovered so many great bands in the 80s. He's a legend himself. I
Yeah.
never met him, unfortunately. We hope that we can meet him one time in the future. Would be
Sure.
cool to talk with him. And I think he has some cool stories about old Metallica and Slayer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully this will happen. And yes, I think I am totally agree with you. Metal has no boundaries. You can do whatever you want. And in the normal pop business, radio music, there are of course unwritten laws. You know this in the past, no song should be longer than 3 minutes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And in metal, nobody cared for that. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I think that's another cool thing about metal, where metal can unite countries all around the world or shape politics, whereas a lot of pop songs are just fluff, you know?
Yeah, this is we always call it. It's just elevator music. You know, it's music played in the
Yeah,
elevator. Yeah, it has no sense at all. But metal, it grabs you by your heart. It grabs you by your balls. You know,
yeah,
it makes your head go round, stuff like that. It really makes you move. And I think this is the main difference. And it's so great. You mentioned it. Uh, when you visit other countries, there's one guy with a metal shirt. You are at the moment you say hello to him, you talk about the new Slayer record or something like that. You know, that's so cool. Yeah, we are
yeah.
a really great community. That's the best thing about it.
Heck yeah. Well, hey, I'm running out of time. I know you probably have more interviews to get to.
No, I have more time because the next one is only next hour. So
Awesome.
no
Let's keep
problem.
going.
If you have some more questions, no problem. It's cool to talk to you.
Yeah, I never really like have questions. I used to prepare questions and then I started talking to bands and like I just get in a conversation and I have no idea what to ask anymore, you know?
Yeah,
Let's
that's
just
that's the
talk
best
about
interviews. That's the
yeah,
best interviews. Just talk about metal, about
yeah,
that's our religion. That's our religion, our lifestyle. You know, other people can't really understand it. Even my kids, they always think I'm crazy because I'm 52 years old now and I'm still behaving like a child
I'm
when
40.
I'm listening to metal.
How old are your kids if you don't mind me asking?
13 and 16 now.
Okay, I got a 13 and a 10-year-old and they both say to me they're like my sisters instead of like my children because I'm probably more of a child. They yell at me about swearing, stuff like that, you know? So,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah, yeah.
but it's funny you mentioned religion. So I started this about a year ago, and I'm also an ordained minister. So like I have the ability in America to marry couples. And when I started this about a year ago, I wanted to start it as a religion because in America, a religion is tax free, and then I wouldn't have to pay any taxes. So my wife
Yeah.
was like, "Nah, nah, let's not go that route." But we so then I went to a Cannibal Corpse show earlier this year. It was Meshuggah, Cannibal Corpse, and Carcass. And I ended up meeting a couple afterwards who got married in the Cannibal Corpse mosh pit. And
Oh, great.
yeah, and I actually interviewed them. It's on the channel or whatever, but it was really cool. I went out and met them, and like at first, people were responding on Instagram, but you could meet this couple and see how passionate they were, not only for each other, but like for metal. And you're like, wow, this is so cool to have like a unique marriage for something you love rather than go to a church, walk down the aisle because your parents wanted you to. I thought it was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's a cool story. That's a cool story. I remember we also once played a show on a marriage party. You know, they have just married and they wished us to play live on their party. You know, and
Yeah.
that took place in a big venue with big with 500 people. That was big for us back then in the early days. You know, and
Yeah.
that was really cool. That was really cool, and it's always great to see the people to be that passionate. They have so much passion. They have so much. What can I say? It's really like a religion for all ours. No, that's so cool. That's great.
I I like gave up all my addictions, like smoking cigarettes, drinking beer. I gave up all that stuff. So I tell people now, like I'm addicted to riffs. Like all I'm doing is chasing. Like seriously, that moment when you drop that needle and you're like, "Oh shit, what is this? I love it. I want more." Like that feeling to me is like almost like a runner's high or something. Like you get like so into that music. And people laugh at me because like I do these 1 minute reviews and I'll do one on you guys too, because your shit is just so good. But
Thank you.
I get I get really excited and really passionate about it. It's like a drug for me. Like I just can't get say enough about metal and how it's been so good to me, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and it's unbelievable. It's the same like I was a child. You know, when I started with metal in '86, I
Yeah.
was 13 years old, and I really can remember when I first heard the first albums. I was a big Warlock fan, you know, the German band Warlock with Doro Pesch. I was, of
Yeah.
course, in love with her.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was jumping around my bed, and I thought, wow, this is great music. This is so hard music. And it's still the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
After all those years, I freak out for some albums, you know, also new stuff, you know, and that's really great.
Yeah. There's a kid I went to like a city school and we had a foreign exchange student from Chile come and he gave me back then I was into like a little bit of like punk, like No Effects or Rancid, stuff like that. And he gave me a blank cassette that had the Exploited's Troops of Tomorrow on one side, and the other side was Morbid Angels, Altar of Madness. And I don't know how my life would have been if I never heard that tape, you know? And from that moment on, I just was full-fledged metal.
Yeah, I also have a cool tape story. It was in the beginning. I didn't have much money. I only got few pocket money from my parents, so I could only afford one LP a month or something like that. So I was taped a lot of albums by my friends. I got them on tape, and one guy did a mistake. On one side of the cassette, that was Kill 'Em All from Metallica, and on the other side, it was Roughless. What was the first Ruffles album called? I can't remember. But he did a mistake and he wrote the wrong band name on the cassette, you know.
Yeah,
And I was wondering, why is everybody loving Metallica that much? Ruffles, this is a cool band.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
so stupid.
But to go back to Metallica, like I was disappointed. I got into Metallica on Ride the Lightning, and then I went back and found Kill 'Em All, and then I ended up going Master of Puppets, and then I went to And Justice for All came out, and I remember I was like, this was the first Metallica album. I was like, I don't like this because if when I was a kid, I didn't know. I always called it flat. It had no bass. And then when the Black album came out, I just heard it so much that I was like, this isn't for me. But you know, and after that, I still like Metallica, but just those three albums. And it's hard
Yeah.
because when you write something like Ride the Lightning, how do you top that? Like it's almost impossible.
Yeah, for me, it's the best guitar sound on the world on Ride the Lightning. I love this guitar sound, so
Yeah.
great. I also try to imitate it on the Kill All Idols album. I
Okay.
use the same microphone to record my guitars, you know, like James Hetfield did on
Yeah.
Ride the Lightning. Of
Yeah.
course, I failed, but okay, it's not that bad.
But
But
if you
you're
come
right.
but if you
You
come
are
close,
totally
it's
right.
probably still good.
Yeah, of course. And of course, the first three albums, the classics, no doubt about it. And it was the same to me when Just for All came out. It was something like, wow, the new Metallica, it must be great again. And you listen to it and you thought like, oh.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of, perhaps you remember, they always said, we will never be commercial, we will never put
Yeah.
out a video clip, and then there was one. The clip
Yeah.
from two to one. That was a little bit like, okay, didn't they say they will never do it and stuff? Of course, it was cool to see them playing and stuff like that. Yeah, but okay, it was not that good. But you are right. Also, the Black album catch me more back then. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, well, I think the Black album, like, was such a different sound. And then I didn't like the fact of like other bands tried to change their sound. Like then Megadeth did Symphony of Destruction and they tried to lean into heaviness, but it felt like something was lacking from them. Just
Yes.
not my
Yeah.
era.
Yeah, I think the recording technology progressed, and I think all those bigger bands they wanted to progress also in sound, but
Yeah.
that was not good for heavy metal. Heavy metal doesn't need a Pink Floyd sound for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and then when
Yeah.
I saw they covered Whiskey in the Jar by Thin Lizzy, and I love Thin Lizzy, but you're Metallica. Why would you cover Thin Lizzy? Like it was like, cover, I don't know, cover Create or Destruction or whoever.
Yeah, yeah. I love the Motorhead covers Metallica did. I
Yeah.
think they were really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
was
the Mercy
fortunate.
Fate medley.
Yeah, and I was fortunate enough too to interview Brian Tatler from Diamond Head, and I asked him like, I think it's a cool idea, and I'm gonna email Metallica, but I thought it would be cool if Metallica covered like Diamond Head songs, and then Diamond Head covered Metallica, and they did like a double album, or like I thought that would be a really cool concept, being that they're both
Yeah, that's
fans of
not
each
bad.
other. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, write to their manager. That's a good idea.
That's what I'm gonna do. Hopefully, internet pick this up and send it to Metallica. And listen
Yeah,
to listen to Disaster too while you're at it.
yeah.
Well, hey, I'm running out of time now. I only got 2 minutes left.
Okay,
I wanted to thank you
okay.
for swinging by, and I want to wish you guys much success for Kill All Idols coming out on the 22nd of August on Metal Blade Records. Everybody should pre-order that album. It's killer.
Thank you very much. Uh, we just say go in the record store, just steal it.
Yeah. One last thing, and then I have a cool tape story. I ended up going to this record store we had, National Record Mart. It was a big chain of records in America. And when I was a teenager, the tapes, tapes are much smaller than records or CDs. I met a guy who was like he was probably in his 20s while I was a teen. And when I would go there, since I would like the same music he did, he would just take the tapes and push them in my bag. And I would get like 5 or 10 tapes ever for free every time. And that's how I would grow into punk and metal in the underground back in the days.
Great story, great story. It
Yeah.
was really, really crazy times back then.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, hey, I
So
had
thank
a
you very much
blast.
for this chat.
Yeah, I had a blast, man.